So this is an exciting day out here in the shop. Anybody who follows this channel knows that I like to do my own powder coating. I've got my Eastwood gun right here, and I use it pretty commonly, powder coating all kinds of parts for my 67 Nova over there that I'm building. I used to use the Harbor Freight gun as well, and after spending enough time with that thing, I finally came to realize that if you want to shoot some powder onto something and you've got yourself a Harbor Freight gun, you're better off to just kind of roll yourself up, you know, like a dollar bill, snort it, sneeze it onto the part, and you'll probably get a better finish. So that's why I use my little Eastwood gun here around the shop pretty much all the time. So I was really excited when I recently got contacted by a company called Redline out of India, which is kind of funny because you guys see that sign right there. I run redlinestands.com. So these folks from Redline in India contacted me and said, hey, would you be interested in reviewing our powder coating gun if we sent one to you? To which I said, sure. It showed up today, and this is Redline in Silvassa, Dadra, Nagar, Haveli, Andaman, Nicobar. I'm sure that I butchered that, but I'm pretty appreciative that these folks have sent me their powder coating system, and I'm excited to give it a shot. Fixing to do an unboxing of it, and probably tomorrow we'll use the thing and see how it goes. Cool. All right, let's check it out and see what we got here. Well, for starters, Redline Ltd. They have their own Redline tape. And I don't even have my own Redline tape at Redline. Owner's manual, electrostatic powder coat gun. Let's see if everything sounds like actual English or not. Congratulations on the purchase of your 2016 model of the popular Redline EZ50 electrostatic powder coating gun. You know, I'm not going to keep reading. I'm just frankly impressed that this is actually English and not broken English. So, looks good. All right. Pull this, kind of see what we got here. Everything is in, you know, thick foam here, kind of like, you know, a gun case that you put, you know, guns in. So, flop it over and have a look. Okay, so that's their gun. Cup that spins on here. Got a trigger right here, and the electrical connector. See if you can kind of see that it screws on, you know, kind of like a computer style electrical connector. And then this is obviously, you know, your air inlet right there with what I assume is some sort of little regulator knob there to control the pressure. Got a knob on the back. That little thing right there, it's an indicator light. Okay, gotcha. Feels nice and heavy in my hands. Definitely heavier than the Eastwood gun. What do we have here? Should probably have read the instructions first, but if you guys are like me, then you're a real man, and you know, real men don't read instructions. That to me looks like the electrode that charges the powder. So if I'm looking at the end of the gun here, you have this little piece of metal that sticks out right there. That to me kind of looks like the piece that goes up in here. Maybe it's a different little, you know, electrode. I can see it's got a couple of electrical contacts there. So I don't know if that's a different style little electrode or what it is. So the first thing I can tell you looking at the air inlet is that is going to screw right into there, but I'm naturally going to have to figure out how to connect, you know, a quick disconnect on it. They give me a bag of O-rings. I'm guessing those are spare parts. These little parts are diffusers. Put them in like the end of the gun, and then it disperses the powder, you know, in a straight line or a great big poof. But again, I am not a powder coating professional. We come to our power supply. First thing I notice about it, it's nice and heavy, so that's encouraging. This is a really interesting point, looking at the ground clamp right here. So the ground clamp is a really big, thick, heavy-duty ground clamp. Let's compare the ground clamps, shall we? Can you see the difference in these two? Eastwood clamp and then the clamp to this Redline gun. I feel like I've just switched from playing from Harbor Freight or Craftsman straight up to Snap-on with that thing. So I'm immediately surprised to see that the plug on it is actually the correct plug to plug into a US outlet. 4 out of 5 times when I get a sample from overseas, it's the wrong plug right here. So I'm really glad to see that. It does look like this is going to be our control right here. Oh, okay. I'm sitting here holding this thinking that like I'm going to be pressing a button right here because my powder coating gun from Eastwood, I get a button to push. Here I'm sitting here thinking this is also a button to push. That screws right up onto the end of the gun. So this is going to push into that. and then I will tighten this little ring on here. Got a pretty good tight connection. I really like the packaging here. I almost kind of wish it was in like a hard plastic shell case where I could open it and close it. Maybe I'll try and find one on Amazon or something. Just opening it up and having a look, I'm pretty pleased with it. Looks quite good. I'm excited to give it a shot. So I'm ready today to go ahead and try the gun out. I just poured a little bit of red powder into the hopper on the gun, screwed it to the bottom of the gun, and now I need something that I'm going to powder coat. It just so happens that I have this old aluminum heat shield right here that I took off of a 2010 Camaro SS. Those of you who follow this channel for a while probably know that I bought a 2010 Camaro SS a while back ago and used it to rob the blown LS3 to go into my 67 Nova build right there. So I've had this old heat shield here in the shop. I don't need it for anything. All I did to prep it for this was put it into my REP17 parts washer, ran some degreaser over it, and then I put it into my REP-P70 media blast cabinet and blasted one side of it. So if we have a look at this thing here, you'll notice that this side of it right here, you know, is still looks kind of dirty. All it's had is, you know, just degreaser ran over it. But if we have a look at this side, that is the side that I have media blasted. It looks way better right down to the original metal right there. And so anyways, I'm ready to shoot some powder on it with this prototype gun that the folks in India sent me. I'm just going to go ahead and set it up and kind of play with the settings for a second and see if I can make sure that it's, you know, going to spray some powder correctly. So check it out. I've been messing with this thing. I installed a little inline filter right here, as well as a 3M pressure regulator right there. The gun's got this little air control valve thing here on the bottom. And then on the back of it, you've got a little switch that you turn there for low to high voltage. You know, the high voltage seems to be best when you're trying to cover something like a flat part like this thing. And you want to turn it down when you're trying to get up into the nooks and crannies and you don't want that Faraday cage effect to kill you. Bear in mind, I'm not a professional powder coater, so if any of this sounds wrong, it probably is. I've got the gun here, and to be honest with you, you know, I don't really have any instructions about using this thing. It's just me messing with it. And what's odd to me is I can take the gun, turn it this way, pull the trigger, and of course nothing comes out because I haven't opened it up yet. So if I turn the little valve right here where it should be spraying some powder and I pull the trigger, whoops, it just shocked me. Why in the world did it just shock me? I have no idea. That was weird. Let me try that again. Hopefully I don't electrocute myself to death here. So, yeah, man, wow. It's shocking me that it's got these metal plates here on the side. I'm not sure why or what I'm doing wrong. Let me turn the voltage down here. Just briefly hit the trigger. Yeah, nothing there. Turn it up a bit. Maybe I'm supposed to be holding that. Before, I was just kind of holding it like this. So, let's see here. Touch it. Doesn't shock me. Don't touch it. Doesn't shock me. I don't know. Anyways, the only way that I've found to get it to actually spray some powder is to close the valve, pull the trigger, and then open the valve, and you'll see it. Can you see it start to spray some powder? Let's see here. Yeah, it's spraying some there. Not a lot, but it's spraying it. So anyways, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm going to give it a shot, and we'll see. All right, I'm going to give it a shot and see if I can shoot some powder on this thing. If it electrocutes me to death, tell my wife I like her. Try and adjust the pressure up a little bit at the regulator. There's some powder coming out, but we ain't setting the woods on fire. There we go. Now we're getting some to come out. I wouldn't say a lot, but it's coming. Let's try and increase the pressure a little bit. Okay. So what I'll say here is as I'm powder coating this and I'm putting this powder on, the big thing that I noticed that's different here between this and my Eastwood gun is that the powder seems to actually be attracting to the metal. I'll be honest with you in that the Eastwood gun doesn't really do that. You know, when you're shooting powder with the Eastwood gun, the majority of your powder ends up on the floor because it just does not do a good job of actually attracting it to the metal. And you can't see the ground underneath me right now, but there's no powder on the ground at all. If this were done with the Eastwood gun, the entire floor would be red right now. You know, the Eastwood gun, in my opinion, kind of just relies on you know, hot flocking the part in order to make the powder stick to, you know, the part. Whereas with this thing, it's actually attracting to the metal and doing a very, very good job of it. Now, I will say that there's definitely some odd things going on here, and that I have no idea why it was shocking me if I was doing something wrong. I also don't necessarily have a very good understanding on how to get this thing to flow, you know, the powder out of it. But the one thing that I'm sure of is that it's doing a tremendously better job of actually, you know, charging the powder and making it stick to the part. And let me show you what I mean. Look at this. Look at the floor underneath me. None of that powder is on the floor. And so it's obvious to me this thing is way, way more efficient at making the powder charge and stick to the part. So let me show you something interesting right here. Do you see where this metal is kind of folded over this edge right here, and it kind of leaves like these little open gaps like you see, you know, like right in there? If I were doing this with the Eastwood gun, that powder would absolutely positively not go up inside of those little gaps like you see in there. But with this gun, it goes right into the little crevices and doesn't leave you with a little bare spot in those locations. So let's put it into my oven. Shout out to the folks at builtamericanaequipment.com for the oven. I really like that thing. Let's put it in, see how it looks. Moment of truth, ladies. Let's see what we got. So having a look here, there is absolutely no doubt that the side that I media blasted, this side right here, looks better than the other side. Everything is just a nice congruent finish. You know, no surprise there. We come over and have a look at this side, you just immediately see a difference. It looks like I powder coated, you know, over top of trash because, well, I did. Anyways, that's what we got. I'm gonna let it cool off and we'll check it and, you know, bend it and see how it does. Okay, so final thoughts here on the Redline powder coating gun from India. First, having a look at the powder that it put down. Let's see here. It's got decent flexibility to it. It's not cracking or anything like that. That side turned out like hell, but we knew that was going to happen. Really went on really, really well. So the big things that I noticed about this gun, the powder attracts to the part way, way better than my Eastwood gun. But I had two kind of large variables here that I'm not really sure whether this is user error or what. But number one, why was I shocked? I'm thinking maybe it has something to do with these metal handles right here where they want you to be grounded to the machine while you're holding it. I really don't know, but at one point I did get a little tingle. It was not anything like massively painful at all. It was kind of like one of those little prank things where you shake somebody's hand and you get a little jolt, you know. It was kind of like that. And so I definitely intend to ask the folks at the Redline Powder Coating Company exactly why that happened and if there's a way to avoid that. The other thing, the only big problem that I really had with this gun was getting the powder to come out consistently. If you just started spraying powder and you had it flowing good and you let off the trigger and then you went to go do it again, it would not spray anything 19 times out of 20. And then I would all of a sudden find myself adjusting the little air valves here and here and here and going on and off and on and off, back and forth, until I finally had the thing flowing powder again. It's another question that I intend to ask them, you know, why was that happening? So I'm not really sure whether that's the fault of the gun or user error. Impossible to say. I will say that it's obvious to me in using this gun that I'm using something that is well above hobbyist grade, but well below professional grade. I was having a conversation the other day with a guy named Jeff who owns Thermodyne powder coating in Pensacola, Florida, and he was telling me that his guns are $9,000. And so it's very obvious to me that this gun, you know, is, you know, underneath those for sure, but substantially better than my my Eastwood gun. So that's kind of what I think of the thing. You can check them out at redlineltd.com. I'm going to put a link down below in the description to their website. Again, totally different Redline. This is not redlinestands.com. This is something I really wanted to check out and see if it was any good in case maybe one day we could offer this thing as a product, you know, on our website. Right now, it's impossible for me to say. I'll use this thing for probably a year before I actually decide whether or not it's any good and, you know, kind of learn about the product. This is just my first thoughts on it. So maybe you'll see this thing on redlinestands.com in the future. Maybe maybe you won't. I don't know. Speaking of products that I test out here in the shop that you might see on our website, a few months ago, I made a video of my welding table. I've been using this thing for almost a year now. Really, really love it. It has absolutely changed the game for me here in the shop. And so that thing is going to be coming out on our website here in the near future as well. You're going to see that on redlinestands.com. We're going to be offering a Redline welding table. So there you go, folks. Like and subscribe, follow along, all that good stuff if you want to. Hope you enjoyed the testing of this powder coating gun from India. You guys have a great one. Take care.